everyone, Keru here. Welcome to the best apocalypse ever. The show where we're not afraid to go higher and higher. Point in fact, I'm higher than I am usually. I'm usually at sea level. Now I went up the little colina so I can show you my little village from a different point of view. This is it, pretty much. And well, a lot of these houses and apartments are empty actually during the winter, which is a shame. But this is a vacation town, so that's the way it is. Maybe you want to see this side. I'm trying again not to have the sun in my eyes or this cell phone shadow on me. So I want to talk today. I'm excited today because I want to talk about something a little lighter than I usually talk about. I think the first few episodes of Best Apocalypse Ever, I really needed to sort of lay out some basic principles. And now that that is done, I can get into the actual meat and grind of what I want to talk about, which is really a mix of different ways of doing things, different philosophies, different technologies, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to talk about Twitch. Twitch.tv. Anyone is aware of this? If you're like 20 years old or something, today's episode you might not learn a lot because you probably know what I'm going to talk about. But if you're older, and I think most people watching me are older, you might not be aware that there's some pretty amazing things going on the internet. And actually the projects I'm going to talk about are like a couple years old. Okay, if you don't know Twitch, I gotta take you back to many years ago when YouTube started becoming very popular and we started hearing about streaming, live streaming. So when the technology became good enough for people to film themselves and broadcast live, people started broadcasting basically everything and anything from, you know, some people were filming themselves eating breakfast or getting ready for work or even sleeping. And it was a pretty shallow time. I was pretty discouraged and I was like, is this the future of entertainment? Turned out it was, because now we have people streaming all kinds of things, and I don't consider myself a streamer because I don't put out my videos live, but as you can see, there's not much editing. I just go out, I film, and then I add an intro to it and put it out. So what's special about Twitch? This website is called twitch.tv. It's a platform. I guess if you don't know much about it, it could be similar to YouTube. It's like a video platform. But where people, it's all about streaming, people filming themselves live, and it was at the beginning originally about video games. So yes, we went from people filming themselves having breakfast and sleeping to people filming themselves playing video games. So I guess for the kids it's very entertaining because they're seeing video games, they're seeing people perform in video games, which is for some people the equivalent of performing in real sports. So just like you would watch a football game, basketball game, hockey game, people watch people playing video games and reacting to the video games. So basically on Twitch what you see is a screen like this with the video game being projected there and a smaller screen on one of the corners with the streamer playing the game and reacting to what's going on in the game. But out of that kept evolving and people started filming different things and they actually became very, very, very popular. The thing is also, while people are playing games, while people are commenting, there's the chat. The chat is basically the viewers that are reacting live by writing comments on the side of the screen, and it can be like thousands or tens of thousands of people just writing whatever, just reacting to what's going on the screen. So it becomes a bit of an interactive thing. So there's amongst the people in the chat.
Hello, goodbye.
Hello, ciao. Buona giornata. People are so nice here. There's people among the chat, like chatting amongst each other, and the person, the streamer, reacting to that. Now, why am I talking about this? Because these streamers became so popular. We're talking a kid in his bedroom, maybe living with his parents, playing video games all day long, and becoming a millionaire doing this. And having all kinds of sponsors and, you know. So now we got some kids that are 20-something that are basically all about having fun, doing what they like, dropping out from school, just, you know, becoming rich, and wondering, what am I going to do with this money? And some of them have pretty damn good ideas. And I love that. I love that. I just love the anarchy of it and using the technology. So I want to talk today about 3 different projects that are, to me, they might be using, because you know, from an outside point of view, this streaming thing, video game streaming, might seem like a very shallow 3D dystopian thing, but it's important to understand that out of that, something beautiful can come out if we use it properly. So let's talk about 3 different examples. The first one, I guess, is I want to talk about Hachu, or Hachubby. Hachubby is a little Korean girl in Korea, though she's traveled to the US a few times. And she used to work in a convenience store, a very small convenience store. She had like what a lot of people would consider a crappy job, I guess, if you're in America. And she loved streaming. She had almost nobody watching her, and she would stream from the convenience store. She would bring her laptop and just talk to people and make up little skits. Or her whole thing was very endearing. And eventually she got caught by her boss and fired because she was streaming from work. And she made a video, you know, she was crying. She was like, I can't believe that, like, I lost the 2 things that I loved. I loved streaming and I loved my work. I loved being in that little store. I loved helping people in the convenience store and, you know, taking care of the stock and everything. And she got fired. And then her chat reacted. The people watching the video commented like, well, you should open your own store. And it became a whole thing, a HachuMart, you know, instead of like Kmart or whatever Mart. HachuMart became like a meme, like an internet joke, like there's going to be HachuMart. And people started making like drawings or 3D rendering of an eventual HachuMart. And it became an idea that grew and grew and grew from her community. Like, Hachu, why don't you actually open an HachuMart? And people started donating to her to help her open a real HachuMart. And like, some people were good with graphics design, so they designed like the sign in front of the stores. Other designed the costumes, the uniforms for the employees. And HachuMart became a reality. She actually opened a small convenience store in Busan, which is in South Korea. And it exists to this day. And the kicker to this, what really got me like, wow, she's in the store and she's streaming now from her store, which is like a famous place now. And when clients come in, when customers come in, like a customer came in and he was a fan of Hachu. He was like, oh Hachu, I'm really happy to visit your store. Like, I really like your streams and I admire what you've done. And the people in the chat watching the stream said, oh, this guy's a fan, we want to encourage him, so give him $20 of stuff. So the people in the chat actually ended up giving a donation to Hachu, or to the store, for the store to give free products to the customer. Now, if that's not New World cooperation, I don't know what is. When I saw this, I was blown away. You know, it's really a perfect example of people embracing a project and a sort of equity of, well, those who have more means, more money can help others and be happy with it, and everyone's happy, and all that revolves around this little Korean girl that's just very talented, actually. Like, she's very funny and a great musician also, and always have very interesting ideas, concepts, you know, for content. But this idea of going into a store and strangers watching this saying, you know, I want to help this guy because he's a fan of the store, because he's a fan of Hachu, give him $20 worth of stuff. He can buy whatever he wants. Everybody wins. So that's my first example. Second example is even better. This is like crazy. This is an American girl called Maya Higa. She's again like 20 something. I think she was like very early 20s when she started her project. She wasn't much, from what I understand, she wasn't that much into streaming or gaming or anything like that, but she loved conservationism, sorry. And she's a bird expert, and she was just by herself helping birds who were maybe wounded get back to health, and then releasing them into the wild, or helping them, you know, live a long life.
Turkeys are one of the dumbest animals that I've ever worked with, and I say that in like a loving way. I don't think that any animals are truly dumb, but I've had friends lose turkeys because when it rains, they go outside and they open their mouth and look up to the sky like they're trying to drink it, and they drown.
Eventually she wanted to do something bigger and better, and she started networking with other people who were into conservationism, and she started streaming to talk about these birds and talk about the importance of protecting animals. And the best way to protect animals is to protect the animals' environment, which is our environment too. And she said, I want to start a sanctuary for wounded animals. And she, like in a record time, she just got so much money together from people donating that just loved the idea of her having her own center, her own sanctuary. And she founded the Alveus Sanctuary for animals, which is not just a sanctuary, it's also a streaming place. So basically it's a bunch of structures, a bunch of houses. So you'll have some where they can treat animals that need treating, another where, you know, whatever's needed. But what she has also is basically a studio, basically a broadcasting studio that is equipped to handle animals. So when she has visitors, and since she's a streamer, a lot of her friends are also streamers. So they come visit her and they bring their viewers, which we're talking tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, maybe more, that are watching their favorite streamer go see Alveus Center. And she's using these wounded animals as ambassadors. So she'll have this specific type of frog, for example, and you know, like she'll show the frog to the chat, the people watching, and say, okay, we need to name the frog. And it's not like the boomer way where we'll have a poll and maybe in a month we'll figure out what the frog is called. No, it's like, okay, what do we call this frog? And people say, like, funny names. And at some point, like one name, just everyone's writing this thing, like we want this name, this name, this. And in 30 seconds, it's done. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the name. So that particular frog, I don't remember, I think it's Jordy or Georgie, I don't remember the name. But let's say she'll introduce that frog to another streamer who's visiting Alveus Center and explain what the frog is about, and the person can take the frog in their hands and ask all kinds of questions. And she has like these big cockroaches that are a little scary. She has emus. She has you know, the big animals too. And they're all animals that cannot be released in the wild because they're injured. I'm sorry, there's a little gust of wind. Hope the sound is still good. So this girl, man, really quickly put together a major, I would say a major thing, like you know, major help for the animal kingdom and for the environmental cause. And we can only see this Alveus Center grow and grow and grow. I mean, it's amazing, amazing, amazing what she did. And the fact that she, from the conception of the project, she conceptualized the whole thing so that everything that was happening there could be broadcast. So really, when she's showing this frog that nobody would care about otherwise, she's showing the entire world and young people who are into dumb things like video games and, you know, streaming. But she's actually showing them, look, this is why this frog is important. That's her place in the ecosystem. That's, you know, that's better than any kind of biology class I've ever had in high school or wherever. And people are really into it. And she works there. You know, she streams like that's her job now. She goes there every day and works from there. So people see that it also takes dedication if you want to change something. But it's an amazing example. Anyway, so that was the second one. So we got Hachubby in South Korea, just following her passion, and her followers being so into helping her that she ends up with her own convenience store. Then we've got, and by the way, I've heard some people talk about Hachubby International, where she would open other stores everywhere, which would be a lot of fun. Then we got Maya in the United States with Alveus Sanctuary, turning conservationism into a multimedia platform, very modern thing, and aimed straight at young people, which is amazing. So we got a whole new generation being aware of the importance of animal conservationism and environmental. And then the third one I want to talk about is a slightly older gentleman that people call Dr. K. The website is Healthygamergg, if I remember correctly. I'll put the links in the description. And I'm sorry for past videos, I might have forgotten to put some links in there. Sorry. I'll really put the links this time. So this guy, it's a little bit different. It's not like a guy that was streaming and all of a sudden something popped up. It's more of a straight ahead business. But what he does, and if you have children or like young people in your family that are gamers, that are into that whole scene, this might interest you. Dr. K is basically a psychologist. Is he a psychiatrist? Yeah, my apologies to Dr. K. This is Dr. Alok Kanoja. He's a Harvard-trained psychiatrist, lifelong gamer, recovered gaming addict, and co-founder of Healthy Gamer.
Show up to the therapist and you're like, I'm depressed. And then the therapist is like, sure.
But he's specialized in actual video games. And all the little ailments that usually gamers might be suffering from. So, you know, social anxiety, loneliness, low self-worth, what can be perceived as laziness from people, like difficulty in doing something else than sitting in front of a video screen, and those types of things. And what he did was really interesting also. I thought he started interviewing all the popular streamers. So it would take a streamer, I think Maya Higa from Alveus Sanctuary did an interview with him. So he takes a streamer and basically has an hour and a half, 2-hour conversation where he asks them, well, you know, what do you want to talk about? And they'll come up with some issue they're having in their life. And usually in an hour and a half, 2 hours, you can go pretty deep. And those videos became very popular, and I thought it was really great. You know, it's like, it's a disconnect from the whole rock star image. As much as I love, you know, rock and roll, and this whole rock star thing is not the healthiest thing. It's basically, it's God worshipping, you know. It's like this perfect idol on stage, and at some point you realize, sorry for the wind, at some point you realize like all the lights and the glitter and the flashy costumes and even the sound, it's all there to make the person on stage seem godlike, seem like a star, you know, like the sun. The sun. And so this guy instead took the video game stars, the Twitch streaming stars, and interviewed them and looked at what was wrong with them instead of what was amazing about them, and basically discussed, you know, well, if you've lived this in the past, maybe this is having whatever consequences on you now. This guy is also, the Dr. K is went to India and studied Ayurvedic medicine, and so he has a whole, it's interesting because it's really a mix of Indian Buddhism philosophy and modern American psychology. And I think the mix is very relevant regarding whatever problem we're going through as a society these days. So, and besides treating or helping these very well-known, famous streamers, he's also offering services for young people, just regular people, and like you know, counseling for gamers. But it's really aimed at the gamer generation, which is what I like about it. Now, those 3 projects, you know, really what I find is that what I find very interesting, and it might shock you, is that the 3 people that I mentioned, as far as I know, from I gotta watch my words carefully. I'm sorry about the wind again. From a, let's say, political perspective, I'm sorry about the wind, I'm just waiting for the gust of wind to end. You could say that these, on paper, these 3 people are completely asleep. I've never heard them say one word against the official narrative. I believe all 3 of them are fully injected and have no problem with that. I know Dr. K was like, oh, today I feel a little because I got injected yesterday, and they're contributing to this agenda. Meanwhile, they're making these incredible projects and creating something that helps humanity in a very non-3D way of life, in a very new world way. So even in the sleep community, quote unquote, there's some really good stuff going on, and we have to pay attention, because the way these people have put together their projects is the way we need to work. Is basically like, if I knew how to do what they did, wow, that's actually what I need to do. Like, I'm a little bit jealous of how efficient these people have been. And also, another shocker, Twitch.tv was, I think last year, was bought by Amazon. So now you got people on an Amazon-owned platform who are fully injected, fully... Actually, they don't really talk about politics. That's the thing. The whole thing about Twitch is that people don't really talk about these subjects, and there are some political-oriented shows where it's people are just talking. They're not playing video games; they're just talking. But I think they're all on the same side. I've never seen, like, I don't watch that many streamers, but I've never seen a streamer being talking about the kind of things we talk here. Like, never. That's one of the reasons why I'm not on Twitch, because I believe I would be banned pretty quick or censored, or I don't know. I might give it a try at some point, but I don't know. Maybe I'll try another platform. So so it's very, I find it fascinating to see that some people that I would consider, you know, asleep and not very interested in the real things that are going on, actually making real things happen in a way that I don't even know how to do myself. Like, I wouldn't know how to achieve that level of success. And maybe the fact that they don't talk about certain subjects contributes to their success. But anyways, at the end of the day, they are using their talent in a very productive way, and mixing that with the most recent technologies available to reach a very wide audience. And they've embraced the philosophy of the chat reacting and giving donations towards a project, and basically using an emotional content related to a specific cause to get people to donate to make certain things a reality. And at the end of the day, I think they're accomplishing beautiful things. So congratulations to them. And just as an added bonus, I want to give a little shout out to another streamer called QT Cinderella, who I didn't know last year, but she organized a streamer award, which is a big award show that was, as far as I'm concerned, more entertaining than any award I've ever seen, because it was so relaxed. And like, the guy that won Gamer of the Year didn't show up because he said, I have to practice gaming. He was at home gaming. And another guy was dressed like in a tuxedo, black tuxedo, very classy, with red Crocs on. And so it was that kind of deal. Some girl came to present an award, and she has very bad Tourette's, and she basically told everyone to fuck off a bunch of times by accident, and when she opened the envelope she said the wrong name, and that's it. Now that's entertainment. And what I liked the most about that award was that in the middle of the award ceremony, the organizers said, okay, we're going to distribute little packets of cereals and coloring books, because your streamers, like, they're all fidgeting on their chairs. They can't stand still watching an award show, even though it's about themselves. So now they're coloring and eating little cereals, dry cereals, and they're happy. So that's another amazing feast of creativity. So and there you go. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this content. This was much lighter than what I usually do. I think the moral of the story is that maybe don't be too quick to rule out something that might seem very shallow. There's the famous line in Jurassic Park, the life will find a way, I think. That's kind of what I see. We went from people streaming themselves sleeping and being like totally shallow, totally just in ego, look at me doing nothing and marvel at what my life is, to people actually using the same media and making something out of it to help the community in a big way, in a way that would have been impossible before this technology was available. So don't give up on people, don't give up on technology, don't give up on the evolving of society. You know, I used to think cell phones were the worst thing in the world. I'm using one right now to talk to you, so that's what it's about. We have to, in this new world, we have to constantly adjust the way we perceive things while keeping a very core, a very strong core about who we are, what we want, and where we're going, and what is acceptable or not. It's not an easy balance to find, but I think we're doing it. That's the thing. We're doing it. We're actually doing it, and it's a beautiful thing. So have a good day, and I love you all very much. And together, let's have the best apocalypse ever, and go swimming together right there. All right, ciao.